Hey YouTube, I wanted to make a video about the a Note phone, a Note series phone, all the way up to the 20 versus Galaxy Z Fold 3. You know, the S Pen edition with waterproofing or water resistance and whatnot. So really, this video is geared to folks that were buying the Z Fold 3 thinking it can do everything the Note can do, and it can, but it's awkward in doing it, and I'll explain why. I feel like all the review videos I had seen before buying this Z Fold 3, which I have now for 3 weeks. I'm a Z Fold 2 owner, and when the Z Fold 3 came out with S Pen capabilities, I thought it was a dream come true, and I just I've seen a lot of videos about the S Pen, Voltroning it to the back like a sword or something, and coming out, and some people taping it or gluing it to the back and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that wouldn't be so awkward, so I figured let me go ahead and trade it in to Samsung. I think I got something like $900 and free earbuds for the Fold 2. They kind of try to pull a okie dokie on me, saying that the 2 wouldn't start up, but they were incorrect in that. But anyway, I digress. Here's my comparison of Note phones. I know this is an antiquated Note 9 to you folks, but it's my daily driver. I have a Note 10 and Note 10 Plus. I'm gonna get the Note 10 Ultra at some point. They get bigger for me, and they don't really, they don't really pack the punch that I get out of this one, only because I get notification light stuff. I got my headset jack, and I really love having a real fingerprint sensor, which is why I like the Fold. The Fold has a real fingerprint sensor. Alright, so let's get down and dirty. So when I do this review here, I'm going to talk about the Z Fold 3 as when it's encompassed with a case. I don't have Samsung Care or anything, and I typically don't carry insurances on the phone, so I like to have a full case on it. This is a leather case from Samsung. So on this case, it's a two-part case here, but I'm going to count the case as far as when I start talking about the grip, because this case does get in your way. A lot of reviewers talk about the Z Fold having a good grip because they're not counting the case, and I feel that's wrong, because almost everyone has a case, especially with this kind of phone that's whatever it costs. So yes, when you talk about this like this, you have a good grip, but I really feel you got to talk about it with the case. So when I talk about the Z Fold, I'm going to talk about it with the case on. Okay, and by the way, I kind of went with some of these reviewers that talked about, I stayed away from the silicone case that Samsung put out with the S Pen holder, and I went for this Rinky case that has the loop, which I really am in love with, and it's got this, it comes in a 3-pack, this Velcro thing, not Velcro, sticky, that it has the elastic and grabs onto the pen. So I do this most of the time, and I have a black one, but I came to work and I wanted to make a quick video. I have a million cases for the Z Fold 3 already, but this is what one of my setups is, that I'll put this cap on it, so the it's a big pen cap that I just cut. It looks ugly, I know, and then I do one of these so that she holds, and I'll hold it like this for the most part. And I put these things on it because the pop sockets, it gives me a good grip, and I don't have to worry so much. I do this so I look like I have a 90s phone. I don't care about how it looks when day to day, just not doing anything. But so this is how it looks with my 90s phone. It looks like a big brick, but I can hold it really good. This is a silly pop socket with the Burt Bees thing where you get the lip gloss stuff. Anyway, it's a little bigger than the average pop socket, because the average pop socket is a little smaller in circumference. Anyway, I can grip it really good. I don't have to worry about it, and I can do one of these, and I can hold it like that. And I can still hold it one-handed and do some stuff, here. it's just awkward to reach everything, you know. So altogether, that's, you know, my daily look. And then if this looks awkward, I can always take it out. Sometimes I leave it in the car, you know, if I know I'm not going to need it. But if it's a typical day and I don't know if a note's going to come up that I need to write or something, I have like this. And, you know, that's where my issues start. Also, you know, another issue I've found out with time is, like, a lot of times I want to use my flashlight, and because of how this grip is, I have to go left-handed or something, and hold it awkwardly, because the flashlight is really low on this phone. So when I want to use the flashlight, a lot of times my finger will be blocking it. See? I'm halfway doing it on purpose, but I know I can reposition this, but this was the perfect grip for me in the beginning, and then I slowly found out. But altogether, this is in a wacky spot as far as trying to use it for a flashlight. Then you're going to hold it low and stuff. So anyway, that's one of my gripes. On to the other stuff. Let me read my notes here. My notes for the Note and all this stuff. So anyway, of course, I'm going to compare. This is a 512 phone. This is a 512 phone. So I'm going to compare them as Galaxy Note series altogether versus, you know, the Z Fold 3, which is the best they have so far. So I'm not going to talk about this fingerprint sensor. Let's make believe that I'm using the Note 20 or 10 with the you know, front screen sensor. So of course, you know, these are going to have the 5G. The Fold 2 had the 5G. I'm thinking the Fold 1 had it too. But up to the Note 20, you're going to deal with 4G LTE, unless you had that oddball Note 10 Plus that picked up 5G. But other than that, it's 5G versus 4G, unless you're talking about the Note 20. Front screen, you know, this front screen is something like 6.2, I think it is, but it's just awkwardly long. And when you need to reach for something, you know, when you're holding it, you gotta really, yes, you could do some of these tricks where you make a shortcut, but if you're not doing that and you just want to grab that top, it's awkward to hold, and it's just a pain in the butt altogether. So that was one of the complaints. Screen versus screen, front screen, and here's where it kind of begins and ends for me, which is I take notes, and like doctor appointments, notes for work, notes when I'm doing something, you know, whatever I'm doing. I actually use the S Pen to take notes, and when I'm on the go, it's very awkward to have to take a phone call and then have to, you know, if you're doing something, you know, I know you're not supposed to be fixing driving, but driving, doing anything, and you have to open up this thing. You gotta, you know, unleash your S Pen that's either in your pocket, or if you want to do like me and be, you know, awkward and pull it out of here. One way or the other, you can only do it from the inside. You can't write on the outside, and that becomes a real nuisance when you want to be able to go ahead and take a note, and you're all of a sudden, you know, have to do 4 moves to get to the point where you're on note taking. You gotta get this out of your pocket, get the S Pen wherever the hell it was, and then open this thing, and then hold it. And if you're not one of, you know, these guys that is willing to do with a pop socket, you're gonna be stretching your hand holding it, and then look, you know, trying to do all the note taking stuff. So to do all that is kind of, you know, pain in the butt altogether. So you know, you get to this point where you're writing, but you have to do about 10 steps to get there. And the obvious solution, you know, one is have the next Z Fold, have it be inside the pen, of course. That's part of the problem. But the other part is you can't write on the front. That's a real killer. And that's why I you know, after using this for 3 weeks straight, trying to get my money's worth, I decided I was going to go back to using this during the week. And I'll use this on the weekends sparingly. It's got better features, and the wow factor, the floss factor, whatever you want to call it, about opening this up and having it, that's cool. But altogether, those are some of my problems with it. You know, I think when you talk about battery stuff and all the other stuff, it's really, you know, they're about the same. You know, I'll give the edge to the Z Fold only because it's newer than any Note's going to be. But you got to talk about, you know, the immediate usability of having an S Pen built in, and then you got to talk about a micro SD card slot that you have on these Notes. All the Notes, the Ultra versions have it, you know, Ultra Plus, whatever you want to call it, have the SD card slot, and this guy doesn't. So that's another problem for me. The other problem for me is cases. You know, I really love having these grip cases and stuff. And these grip cases, and you have a lot more choices with a candy bar phone. A lot more choices. Versus, like, the best cases for the Z Fold are basically made by Samsung, and or you gotta make some crazy concoction of your own or something. There's no real great solution, and then, like, God forbid you drop it on the hinge and stuff. And there's no battery cases. Like, the battery cases are important to me when I'm running low and I'm on the road or I'm doing something. I don't have to miss a beat. I just have, you know, a Zero Lemon or a Mophie charging case on me, and, you know, next thing you know, I don't have to worry. You know, I just, you know, throw a Zero Lemon case in there or whatever, and I'm back in business. Well, other folks are over there panicking, looking for a charger. I'm good to go. So, this is my list if you want to pause it or whatever. But, you know, the grip, this guy's just chunky. It's chunky, especially with a full case array on it. So when you start talking about a full case array, all these reviewers talk about it when it's naked. I don't think too many people rock the phone naked. So, or at least, you know, folks that are anywhere near clumsy. So altogether, for me, the main advantages of the Note were an array of cases, the micro SD card slot, the fact that the flashlight's in the proper space versus, you know, really low and awkward on the Z Fold, and the other, you know, S Pen storage. Give me a break. Come on, you got one that goes inside and one that you got to float around with. So that's the obvious choice. Another thing is, like, when you're using it standard, you know, even if you're not using my awkward case over here, if you're using it with a real or real official Samsung case or whatnot, you know, you could get mistaken for like a regular chunky phone easily. So it's not until, and this is kind of an awkward color, I have a black also, silicone, but no one's going to really know you have a Z Fold or pay attention to it until you do this. And it kind of feels like you're doing too much when you do this. I've seen other folks, it's not just me, I've seen other folks holding this thing out in public, and it looks weird, and like they're holding it on a little bit of an angle to grip the whole thing, and altogether, you know, you got to worry about it falling or whatever, and it also looks like you're doing too much as far as, like, look at me, no, you know. I understand if you're somewhere and now you have the time to do something and you want to take advantage of a full, you know, mini tablet, great. But, you know, in most cases, and sometimes you really have to open the phone to get some of the main features, especially when you start talking about the S Pen and stuff, and you want to start doing stuff that is awkward to do on here with one hand. So it just feels like, you know, it could be a good thing and bad thing. If you want to be noticed and stuff, great. If, you know, you're not out for that and you're just trying to actually use your phone, and then you might get some attention you don't want. But I really love the fact that this has a real fingerprint scanner. So this does beat the Notes, the newer Notes, in that, because you have a real fingerprint scanner versus, you know, the optical stuff. And I don't believe in the optical stuff, I'm sorry, but I've always had a little trouble with it, and you have to know where your finger's going and actually watch what you're doing, versus, you know, you grab a phone like this and you know once by feel where it is and what you're doing, and it's already open by the time it's getting to your face. It could be completely locked in your pocket, and by the time it gets to your face, it's open and ready to go. Same kind of stuff with this, and I feel that versus the Note 20 and the Note 10, this is a definite win because you have a real fingerprint scanner. You know, cameras and stuff, I'm sure this wins out in all the camera competitions it has with the older notes. You gotta call the Note 20 an older phone at this point, but it's gonna win most of that stuff. It's gonna win most of the speed contests and all that kind of stuff. And in real world usage, I think it's all the same. But for people that gravitate towards specs, you're gonna see that this is probably the winner in most cases. The side key stuff kind of bothers me. It bothered me in the Fold 2 also, where you have to actually go into it and like program it. Like if you just hold the...
I didn't understand that.
You have to go into it and actually program the side key so that altogether it'll turn into a power button for you. Otherwise, it's going to bring up Bixby and stuff. So once you go into it and do that, you know, then you can hold the power and have it do a traditional power versus that Bixby stuff when you hold it. And you can make that as you like, but that's kind of the bummer of not having a Bixby button, because the last one you could reprogram or get a third-party app to reprogram to do other things. But yeah, all the keys and stuff are in the right places, unless you're left-handed. But you know, the chunkiness, I think, doesn't get talked about enough, especially when you talk about a case on it, and the inability to, you know, write on the front screen is a real bummer. And you know, other than that, it's a great phone, but you have to take these things into account, and just the usability of day-to-day usage. It's a great phone for if you have, you know, the time to be sitting down and opening it and deal with only the front screen, and you have two hands available, or you're a steady grip person. Great. But if you're not and you're on the move and you're trying to take notes on the fly, this is not the way to go. You might as well stick to a traditional note device. And if you have the money to splurge and have this be a weekend phone or something, great. Alright, just wanted to convey those ideas. Thank you.